Hey, sports porchers, good morning, and I hope you had a wonderful night of sleep last night as the Pittsburgh Penguins took care of business and beat the Washington Capitals 4-2 last night on the road to end the three-game road streak. And, this is the problem. This is the thing about the Penguins that I just love and I hate. Carlson can go from GOAT to hero in a matter of 24 hours. Last night showed why the Pittsburgh Penguins went to get Mr. Carlson, and he did deliver right from the very beginning. And yeah, he had some boneheaded plays still on defense, but overall, this is why the Pittsburgh Penguins need Erik Karlsson, and they need to figure out how to get this guy going more games than not, because when he does not go, the team does not go. And when he does get going, the Pittsburgh Penguins really get going. Carlson got his first goal in the first period, his first goal in 14 games, and he did it playing with Sid and Gino. And I think that's really important because although Russ came back for this game, and I think you'll probably see Russ play a little bit more with Gino so they can get back to at least having two lines and not just one line. By the way, I hate saying by the way, just so you know, how about that? Let's try that. Just so you know, Crosby and Malkin together was a really good stopgap, but it was only a stopgap. They need to have Rax playing with Sid. They need to have Rusty playing with Gino. They need to have two solid lines, and they need to figure out those other wing positions pretty quickly. Looks like Lars Eller is taking a step back from the scoring side of things. I still think he's going to be a solid third line center, but they got to figure out those other wings. And if that means some experimentation with some young guys, I'm all for it. I think that's great for the team. They need to find that out. And I think they'll be okay as long as injuries don't persist. I think that's the number one thing to take away from this game. The other thing is, and I've got it up behind me, thank you, Yoel Bloomquist, for just an absolutely fantastic game. He wasn't top notch. He didn't save everything. He did give up a couple goals, but he made great timely saves. He made tough saves. And that's the thing that Ned's been lacking. Ned's been lacking the ability to make the tough save when they need a tough save. And Bloomquist probably did that a couple times in the first. Definitely did it in the third when they were only down by a goal. And I thought he was the main difference. I think after that second period, it could have easily have been 4-2 Washington. And instead it was 2-2 going into the third. That's right, 2-2 going into the third. And that was the difference maker. That gave the Penguins enough confidence to finally, mix up the lines again. They put Rust in with Gino. Russ made a nice beeline right to the net to get that third goal and to seal the win for the Pittsburgh Penguins. I think that's the key to this team winning. They got to have secondary scoring. Look, Bunning, incredible goal. And that was because it was a really sweet pass from Carlson, but he did a excellent job of getting that puck into the net. One-handed? Are you kidding me? The way he shoveled that thing right past the goalie. And by the way, Lindgren, I said it again, Lindgren is a great goalie. He is fantastic. And to be able to do that against him, I thought was great. I'm going to switch gears here to the Capitals for a second. I'm not a big fan of Dylan Strome. I don't think he's that great. I think he is really, though, what makes the Capitals go or not go. When he can find Ovi, and the Penguins have been traditionally very good against Ovechkin. Sidney doesn't really play against him that much. I know that they lined up for the face-off, but Carberry even said it was kind of a stage thing because, ESPN was doing it, and they were hyping the 70th time these two guys played together. That's right, 70th time. I feel old when I say that. But the Penguins have traditionally been very good against Ovi, and I think that's a source of frustration for the Capitals. They had a 7-game home streak coming into this game. They were eventually going to lose. I'm glad it was at the hands of the Pittsburgh Penguins, to be honest with you, because the Penguins needed this win. And let me explain a little bit why that is. I got a little chart here. I did a little, and this is why I didn't do it last night, because I wanted to give you guys a little bit of analysis about why I think the next 7 games are really important. So here's the next 7 games. The Pittsburgh Penguins right now at game 16 have 14 points. That projects out to 71, 72 points for the season. That will not get you a playoff position, okay? So in order, and I picked the next 7 games because in the next 7 games, 6 of the 7 are being played in Pittsburgh. Actually, 7 of the next 8 are in Pittsburgh, and it's close to the time frame of the you have to be in the playoffs at Thanksgiving deal that the NHL always touts. And there's a pretty big statistic. Like if you're not in the playoffs by the playoffs, you only make the playoffs like 20% of the time. So it's really kind of important to be in the playoffs during that time. Now the Penguins have put themselves in a pretty big pickle with projected only 71, 72 points in the first 16 games. So that means that the Penguins here, if they get 9 points, they do improve the 82 points on the season. So that's only 9 points out of a possible 14. That's still a pretty tall order for any team. If they do that, they'll still be out of the playoffs. So that's not good enough. So what if they get to 11 points? If they get to 11 points, they'll be at 89 points projected for the season. That's right on the bubble, exactly where they were last year. And if they get to 13 points, which means basically they have to go on a 7 game points game streak, which would be 8 because of tonight's game, that would get them in. Likewise, if they get 12 points, which means 6 wins, 6 of the 7 wins. There's always a loser point in these games, so I'm just playing. I'm playing the loser point really, which as the hockey Jesus, I hate that. But that gets them to 96 points, and they would be in the playoffs. So that's the struggles the Pittsburgh Penguins have given themselves by getting off to a pretty terrible start in the first 16 games. So they really have to pick it up in the next 7 games. And they've got a chance because they're playing at home and they haven't played traditionally at home well yet. And I think if they can do that, I think the Pittsburgh Penguins are going to be in a pretty good position. But in order to do that, one, they're going to have to stay healthy. Two, guess who's coming back? Yes, I hate to say it, but I'm saying thank you to Yoel Bloomquist because he's probably getting sent down to the minors today. Today is the 14th day. Ooh, excuse me. I think I need a cup of coffee. Today is the 14th day of Jari's stint in the minors, so they got to bring him back. They have to bring him back by rule. They have to bring him back. So he's not coming up. He's coming up. He's probably starting Monday against Dallas, which the Hockey Jesus will be live at that game on Monday with the Mrs. Hockey Jesus. And honestly, it's probably good for the Penguins to get Jari back up here. And this is why I'm going to say this. Ned has proven that he's not a number one goalie. I like him. I think he's a adequate backup. I think he can probably be good some games. He's just not your everyday goalie. He can't go out there and be on all the time. And this year he's been a little off. Last year I think he was proving himself. This year he got the secondary contract. He knows he can play well. I think he's lost a little bit of focus. I'm no sports psychologist, but this is what it looks like to me. And I think that in the long run, having Jari being good, you have to identify whether he can do it. You'll be able to identify it, and unfortunately, I'll be there live. So I implore Pittsburgh Penguins fans, please, if he gives up an early goal, do not boo. This guy just needs a little bit of a confidence boost. I'm not saying that if he plays like garbage, you shouldn't not cheer for the guy. But we need a healthy and a good Tristan Jarry in goal in order to make this run of 7 games. This will make or break the season for the Penguins. I'm not going to sugarcoat it any other way. This will absolutely make or break these next 7 games, the Pittsburgh Penguins season. And if they're not going to be good, I'd rather them get like 2 or 3 points out of the next 14 possible, because you're much better off drafting low and starting the rebuild. It means, tearing it all down, selling off Eller at the trade deadline. This is the difference These next 7 games will make the difference in what the Pittsburgh Penguins will do for the rest of the season. Well, that's my analysis. I know it was more analysis about what's going on in the next 7 games, but I think it's important for you as hockey fans, as Pittsburgh Penguins fans, to know the direction this team is going in. I'm thankful that, they're at that 71-72 because when they were, where were they? They were at the 53 point, 52 points a season when they lost to Minnesota. That's the bottom right there. That is the bottom. From here we go up. How far up can they get to the 82? Can they get to into the 90s by midseason? That's where the Pittsburgh Penguins need to get to. And I'm here to give you the analysis. I hope you come back. Smash that subscribe button if you like what you saw today. Tell your friends. And the Hockey Jesus will be back. Geez, I don't know when I'm going to be back. I'm going to be at the game Monday. So I'll probably give you analysis after the game. I'll be too hyped up to get to bed. So I'll let you know how it went Monday night. Hopefully Jari will be in goal, and I will catch you then. Let's go, Pens, and keep the faith.